Projects typically emerge in response to certain needs or to address specific issues within an organization or community. Here are 7 common needs that often give rise to projects. Business opportunities. Many projects are initiated to exploit new business opportunities. This could be in the form of creating a new product, entering a new market, or leveraging a new technology. Operational efficiency. Projects can be initiated to improve operations, reduce costs, and streamline processes. Examples include re-engineering business processes, automating manual tasks, or upgrading existing systems. Regulatory and compliance needs. Sometimes projects are initiated to ensure that an organization adheres to new or changing regulations. This is common in industries like finance, healthcare, and manufacturing where regulations can be strict. Organizational growth. As organizations grow, there's a need to expand infrastructure, enter new markets, or integrate new teams. Such growth often necessitates projects to manage and guide these transitions effectively. Risk management and issue resolution. If there's a significant threat to an organization or if a critical issue arises, a project might be initiated to manage, mitigate, or eliminate that risk or issue. This could be in the form of disaster recovery projects, security projects, or any initiative to address a specific organizational vulnerability. Stakeholder demands. Stakeholders, whether they are customers, shareholders, employees, or community members, might have specific demands or needs. Projects can be initiated to meet these demands, enhance stakeholder satisfaction, or fulfill corporate social responsibilities. Technological advancements. The rapid pace of technological change often necessitates projects. Organizations might initiate projects to upgrade outdated systems, implement new technologies, or transition to more modern platforms. In essence, the initiation of a project usually stems from a desire or need to change something, achieve a specific outcome, or solve a particular problem. Recognizing and clearly defining these needs is critical to the success of any project, as it provides direction, purpose, and justification for the project's existence. User. What is a feasibility study? ChatGPT. A feasibility study is an analysis that takes all of a project's relevant factors into account, including economic, technical, legal, and scheduling considerations, to ascertain the likelihood of completing the project successfully. The purpose of a feasibility study is to identify any potential problems that could occur during the project, and to determine whether it's viable for the project to proceed. It's essentially a go-no-go decision-making tool. Here are the typical components of a feasibility study. Introduction. Describes the problem or business opportunity and the objective of the study. Market feasibility. Assesses the demand for the product or service, including target demographics, market size, and potential for sales. Technical feasibility. Examines whether the project can be implemented with the available technology and within the proposed budget and timeline. This includes a review of equipment, software, operational processes, and other necessary tools. Economic feasibility, often known as the cost-benefit analysis. This evaluates the project's potential for delivering a return on investment. It includes an estimation of project costs, potential revenues, profit margins, and payback periods. Legal feasibility. Assesses potential legal and regulatory challenges the project could face. This ensures that the proposed initiative doesn't violate any laws or regulations. Operational feasibility analyzes whether the organization's existing workflow, manpower, and operations can support the proposed project. It considers factors like resource availability and project requirements. Scheduling feasibility determines whether the project can be completed within the proposed timeline. Financial feasibility looks at the project from an investment perspective. It considers factors such as funding sources, cash flow estimates, and financial risks. Conclusion. Recommendations. Based on all the analyses, this section provides a recommendation on whether or not to proceed with the project. It may also suggest changes or modifications to improve the project's viability. Conducting a feasibility study is crucial for many reasons. It helps organizations avoid costly mistakes and make informed decisions. It identifies new opportunities or areas of improvement. It provides stakeholders with a clear picture of the potential risks and rewards. A well-executed feasibility study can save time, money, and resources in the long run by ensuring that an idea or concept is viable before significant resources are committed. User. What are the 5 process groups? ChatGPT. The 5 process groups are a fundamental concept in project management, particularly within the Project Management Institute's PMI framework, as described in the Project Management Body of Knowledge (PMBOK) guide. These groups outline the major phases that projects go through from initiation to closure. They help organize and describe the typical progression of tasks and activities throughout a project's lifecycle. Here are the 5 process groups. Initiating process group. Objective. Define a new project or new phase of an existing project by obtaining authorization to start the project or phase. Key outputs. Project charter. Identification of stakeholders. Planning process group. Objective. Establish the scope of the project, refine objectives, and define the course of action required to attain the objectives. Key outputs. Project management plan, which includes scope, schedule, cost, quality, resource, and risk management plans, among others. Executing process group. Objective. Perform the work defined in the project management plan to achieve the project's objectives. Key activities. Direct and manage project work, manage project knowledge, acquire and develop the project team, conduct procurements, and engage stakeholders. Key outputs. Deliverables, work performance data, and updates to organizational process assets. Monitoring and controlling process group. Objective. Track, review, and regulate the progress and performance of the project. Identify any areas where changes to the plan are required, and initiate the corresponding changes. Key activities. Monitor and control project work. Perform integrated change control. Validate scope, control schedule, control costs. Monitor communications, control risks, among others. Key outputs. Work performance reports, change requests, updates to the project management plan, and updates to project documents. Closing process group. Objective. Conclude all activities across all process groups to formally complete the project or phase. Key activities. Close project or phase, and close procurements. Key outputs. Final product, service, or result transition, and organizational process assets updates. Each of these process groups consists of multiple processes, and each process has its inputs, tools, and techniques, and outputs. It's important to note that these process groups are iterative and can be revisited as the project progresses. For instance, you might return to the planning process group after executing some of the tasks if you find that changes are necessary. User. What are the skills in the Talent Triangle PMI? ChatGPT. The PMI Project Management Institute introduced the Talent Triangle to highlight the 3 critical skill sets that project professionals need to master to remain competitive and relevant in the evolving global business landscape. The Talent Triangle emphasizes that technical project management skills alone are not sufficient. Broader abilities are also essential for success. Here are the 3 skills in the PMI's Talent Triangle. Technical project management. These are the core technical competencies associated with managing projects. This includes knowledge and skills in areas like project scheduling, risk management, scope management, cost management, and quality management. Essentially, these are the traditional project management capabilities. Leadership. Leadership skills encompass the ability to guide, motivate, and lead teams to achieve project objectives. This includes skills like conflict resolution, team building, stakeholder management, decision-making, and negotiation. Soft skills, such as empathy, influence, and emotional intelligence, also fall under this category. Strategic and business management. This skill set involves understanding broader business context in which projects take place. It's about aligning projects with the strategic objectives and business operations of the organization. Skills in this area include market awareness, business acumen, benefits management, customer relationship and satisfaction, and operational functions like finance and marketing. PMI emphasizes that project managers who develop competencies in each of these areas will be better equipped to contribute value to their organizations, navigate complexity, and lead successful projects. As a result, many of PMI's certification programs, professional development opportunities, and other resources now incorporate and emphasize the Talent Triangle's components. User. What are the skills every project manager should possess? ChatGPT. Project managers play a pivotal role in leading and executing projects, ensuring that goals are met on time and within budget. Consequently, they need a diverse set of skills to be effective. Here's a comprehensive list of skills every project manager should possess. Technical project management skills. Planning and scheduling. Ability to develop detailed project plans. Budgeting and cost management. Estimating costs and managing the project budget. Risk management. Identifying, analyzing, and mitigating project risks. Quality management. Ensuring deliverables meet the required standards and criteria. Leadership. Team building. Forming and nurturing high-performing teams. Motivation. Inspiring and driving the team towards objectives. Decision-making. Making informed decisions, even under pressure. Conflict resolution. Addressing and resolving differences to keep the team focused. Communication skills. Listening. Understanding team members, stakeholders, and client needs. Speaking and presenting. Conveying information effectively. Writing, creating clear and concise reports, emails, and project documents. Stakeholder management. Negotiation, reaching agreements that benefit the project and organization. Influencing, persuading stakeholders and team members about certain actions and decisions. Managing expectations, aligning stakeholder expectations with project realities. Strategic and business management. Business acumen, understanding the business context and how the project aligns with organizational objectives. Benefits realization, ensuring the project delivers value and benefits to the organization. Operational awareness, understanding the operational aspects, like sales, marketing, and finance, and how they relate to the project. Problem solving and critical thinking. Analyzing situations, identifying potential issues, and implementing solutions. Adaptability and flexibility, adjusting to changing circumstances, new information, and unforeseen challenges. Time management, effectively juggling multiple tasks and ensuring timely project deliverables. Ethics and integrity, upholding professional and moral principles in all actions and decisions. Cultural awareness and diversity, understanding and respecting diverse cultural norms, practices, and values, especially in global projects. Technical proficiency, depending on the industry or sector, having a grasp of relevant tools, technologies, and methodologies can be crucial. Continuous learning and professional development, keeping up to date with best practices, new methodologies, and emerging tools in the project management field. While it's a diverse and demanding list, it's also worth noting that not every project manager will need to master every skill equally. The specific requirements will often depend on the nature, industry, and scope of the projects they manage. However, possessing a balance of these skills will significantly enhance a project manager's effectiveness and success rate. User. What are the three types of PMO organizations? ChatGPT. A project management office, PMO, is a centralized team, department, or entity within an organization that defines and maintains standards for project management. The PMO can operate at different levels of authority and provide a range of services. The three main types of PMO structures or organizations are supportive PMO. Characteristics. This type of PMO provides a consultative role. It acts as a project repository and offers templates, best practices, training, access to information, and lessons learned from past projects. It serves more as a project management knowledge hub for the organization. Authority level, low. Project managers can decide whether or not to use the supportive PMO's resources. Best suited for organizations that want to introduce the concept of a PMO without making it mandatory, or organizations with a diverse range of project management maturity levels. Controlling PMO. Characteristics. This PMO type provides support and requires compliance. There are specific project management frameworks or methodologies that need to be used, and the PMO can have a level of control by requiring adherence to specific frameworks and processes. Authority level, moderate. While there's more control than a supportive PMO, project managers still have some flexibility in how they manage projects. Best suited for organizations that want to introduce more standardization and increase project management maturity, but also want to allow some flexibility. Directive PMO. Characteristics. This PMO operates with a high level of control and directly manages the projects. Project managers are often assigned by the PMO, and the PMO team plays an active role in the management of the projects. Authority level, high. The PMO has direct authority and control over all projects, often serving as both project management consultants and decision makers. Best suited for organizations that prioritize standardization, rigorous project management processes, and a high level of oversight, often due to the complexity or critical nature of their projects. The choice among these PMO types usually depends on the organization's culture, project management maturity, strategic goals, and specific needs. In many cases, a PMO might evolve over time, transitioning from one type to another based on changing organizational objectives and lessons learned from project experiences. User. What are the three different development cycles? ChatGPT. When referring to development cycles in the context of software or product development, you are likely alluding to software development methodologies or life cycles. These methodologies outline the process for planning, creating, testing, and deploying an information system. Here are three of the most well-known development cycles methodologies. Waterfall model. Characteristics. This is a linear and sequential approach where each phase depends on the deliverables of the previous one. The process flows like a waterfall through several phases: requirements, design, implementation, verification, and maintenance. Advantages: clear structure, easy to understand defined stages and deliverables. Drawbacks: difficulty in going back to change something after the phase is complete, not suitable for complex and object-oriented projects, not suitable for projects with changing requirements. Agile model. Characteristics: agile is iterative and incremental. Development is broken down into sprints or iterations, typically lasting a few weeks. At the end of each sprint, a potentially shippable product increment is delivered. Agile methodologies emphasize collaboration, adaptability, and delivering small functional bits of the application as soon as they are ready. Advantages: flexibility to change, constant feedback, continuous user involvement, better suited for projects with changing requirements. Drawbacks: can be chaotic if not managed well, requires significant user involvement, and can be difficult to estimate time and cost. Spiral model. Characteristics: this model combines the idea of iterative development with the systematic, controlled aspects of the waterfall model. It's a cyclic approach where each cycle or spiral goes through planning, risk analysis, engineering, evaluation, and then circles back. Advantages: focus on risk analysis, strong approval and documentation control, adaptable to changing requirements. Drawbacks: can be expensive, requires risk assessment expertise. Complexity of the model might be a deterrent for some projects. There are other development methodologies as well, such as V-model validation and verification, incremental model, rapid application development, and more. The best model often depends on the specific needs, scope, and context of the project at hand. User. Describe the difference between Scrum and Kanban. ChatGPT. Scrum and Kanban are both agile methodologies used in software development and other project management contexts. While they both aim to improve workflow efficiency and product delivery, they have distinct practices, roles, and principles. Here's a comparison of the key differences between Scrum and Kanban. Framework against method. Scrum. Scrum is a framework that divides development into time-boxed iterations called sprints, which typically last 2 to 4 weeks. It has specific roles, events, and artifacts. Kanban is a method focused on visualizing the work process and maximizing flow. It does not prescribe specific roles or iterations. Roles. Scrum has defined roles like the Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Development Team. Kanban does not have predefined roles. While roles can exist, they are less structured and are based on the team's needs. Board. Scrum. The Scrum board is reset after each sprint. It represents the work for a particular sprint. Kanban. The Kanban board is continuous. It visualizes the flow of work across various stages, from to do to done, and doesn't reset. Work cadence. Scrum. Work is organized into sprints. Once a sprint begins, its scope is typically fixed and not changed until the next sprint. Kanban work items are pulled as capacity becomes available. There's a continuous flow without iterations, and changes can be made at any time. Release. Scrum. Releases can be at the end of each sprint, or after multiple sprints based on the product increment's readiness. Kanban releases are more flexible and can happen anytime a work item or set of work items is complete and meets the definition of done. Key metrics. Scrum. Velocity is often used as a key metric, which measures how many story points or backlog items the team completes per sprint. Kanban. Lead time, the average time to complete one item, and cycle time, the average time it takes to complete an item once it started, are key metrics. Improvement. Scrum. Retrospectives are held at the end of each sprint to discuss what went well, what didn't, and how to improve. Kanban. Continuous improvement is encouraged, and the team can make process changes at any time. Work in progress. Work in progress. Scrum. Work in progress is limited indirectly by the sprint's duration and the amount of work the team commits to. Kanban. Work in progress is often limited directly using explicit work in progress limits for each stage or column on the Kanban board. Change adaptability. Scrum. Less flexible during a sprint. Changes are typically incorporated into the next sprint. Kanban. More adaptable to changes. New items can be added whenever capacity is available. While these differences provide a general overview, it's essential to understand that teams often adapt and adjust methodologies to fit their specific needs. Some teams even use a hybrid approach called Scrumman, which combines elements from both Scrum and Kanban. User. What are the 10 process areas knowledge? Cheap. It sounds like you're referring to the knowledge areas from the Project Management Institute's APMI, a guide to the project management body of knowledge, PMBOK guide. As of my last update in 2022, the PMBOK guide, 6th edition, identifies 10 knowledge areas. These knowledge areas categorize a set of related activities and processes within the field of project management. Here are the 10 knowledge areas. Integration management. This area deals with coordinating all parts of the project. Key processes include developing the project charter, project management plan, and closing out the project. Scope management. This focuses on ensuring the project includes all and only the work required to complete it successfully. It involves defining, validating, and controlling the project scope. Schedule management. This involves managing timely completion of the project, including activity definition, sequencing, and time estimating. Cost management. This area revolves around planning, estimating, budgeting, and controlling costs to ensure the project is completed within the approved budget. Quality management. This ensures that the project's deliverables meet the quality standards set for the project. It involves planning, managing, and controlling project quality. Resource management. This area is about effectively managing and deploying the people, equipment, and materials required for the project. Communications management. This ensures timely and appropriate planning, collecting, creating, distributing, storing, retrieving, managing, controlling, monitoring, and the ultimate disposition of project information. Risk management. This involves planning for, identifying, analyzing, both qualitatively and quantitatively, responding to, and monitoring project risks. Procurement management. This deals with purchasing or acquiring products, services, or results needed from outside the project team. It also involves managing relationships with vendors and suppliers. Stakeholder management. This focuses on identifying all stakeholders, understanding their expectations and impact, and managing their engagement on the project. Each of these knowledge areas encompasses a set of processes that are applicable throughout the project's lifecycle. Understanding and effectively managing these areas is crucial for successful project management. User. What are project selection methods? ChatGPT. Project selection methods are techniques that organizations use to evaluate and prioritize potential projects based on their alignment with organizational objectives, feasibility, and expected returns. These methods help organizations choose the most beneficial projects when resources, especially financial, are limited. There are two main categories of project selection methods: qualitative and quantitative. 1. Qualitative methods. These are more subjective and are often based on judgment, intuition, or consensus. Examples include expert judgment, relying on the opinions and insights of experts in the domain or industry. Focus groups, engaging stakeholders or experts in discussions to gather their views and preferences. Brainstorming, encouraging free thinking and idea generation among a group to determine the potential project's merits. Consultative approach, seeking inputs from various departments, teams, or stakeholders to gain a comprehensive view. Constrained voting, allocating votes to stakeholders and letting them vote on potential projects. 2. Quantitative methods. These are more objective and rely on numerical and factual data. Examples include net present value (NPV), calculates the present value of expected future cash inflows minus the present value of expected future cash outflows. Internal rate of return (IR) identifies the discount rate where the NPV of future cash flows equals 0. A project with a higher IRR can be seen as more favorable. Payback period determines the time required for a project to pay back its initial investment. Benefit cost ratio (BCRA) compares the expected benefits or returns of a project to its costs. A BCR greater than 1 indicates a project's benefits outweigh its costs. Economic value added (EVA) calculates the net economic profit of a project after considering the total cost of financing. Scoring models use a set of criteria, for example, strategic fit, return on investment, risk level, to score and rank projects. Criteria are weighted based on their importance. Opportunity cost considers the benefits an organization may miss out on by choosing one project over another. It's important to note that no single method is universally best. Organizations often use a combination of qualitative and quantitative methods, depending on their strategic goals, organizational culture, industry specifics, and the nature of the projects under consideration. Moreover, the context, including the organization's strategic objectives and the environment in which it operates, plays a crucial role in selecting an appropriate project evaluation and selection method. User. What is the payback period? ChatGPT. The payback period is a simple financial metric used to determine the length of time it takes for an investment to generate an amount of money equal to the original investment cost. In other words, it's the time it takes for an investment to pay back its initial outlay. The payback period is often used as a rough measure of the risk associated with an investment, with the logic being that shorter payback periods are typically seen as less risky. Formula. Payback period. Initial investment cost. Annual cash inflows. Payback period. Annual cash inflows. Initial investment cost. Example. Imagine you invest $10,000 in a business venture. If this venture provides you with a return of $2,000 per year, the payback period would be text payback period for $10,000, $2,000 a year, 5 text years. So, it would take 5 years for the investment to be fully paid back. Points to consider. Simplicity. One of the main advantages of the payback period is its simplicity, which allows for easy understanding and calculation. Limitations. The payback period doesn't take into account the time value of money. Cash inflows in the future are not discounted, which is a major limitation, especially for longer-term projects. It ignores cash flows received after the payback period. So, two projects with the same payback period might have vastly different profitability over their entire lifespans. It doesn't necessarily reflect the profitability or the return on investment. A project can have a short payback period but not necessarily be a good long-term investment. Usage. Due to its limitations, while the payback period can be useful as an initial screening tool or for projects with a short lifespan, it's often used in conjunction with other financial metrics, like net present value (NPV) or internal rate of return (IR), which account for the time value of money and overall profitability. Overall, while the payback period offers a quick and intuitive measure of investment recovery, it should be considered as only one factor in the broader decision-making process. User. What is NPV and IR? ChatGPT. Net present value (NPV) and internal rate of return (IR) are two essential financial metrics used in capital budgeting and investment analysis. Both are used to evaluate the profitability and desirability of investments or projects, but they approach the assessment from different perspectives. 1. Net present value (NPV). Definition. NPV is the difference between the present value of cash inflows and the present value of cash outflows over the investment's life. It represents the net increase or decrease in wealth due to the project or investment. Formula. NPV 1 0 NPV owner TCFT 0, where CFT is the cash flow in period, TR is the discount rate, usually the required rate of return, 0 C0 is the initial investment, T is the time period. Interpretation. A positive NPV indicates that the project or investment is expected to generate more returns than the required rate of return and therefore should be considered. A negative NPV indicates that the project is expected to generate less than the required return. An NPV of 0 suggests that the project will yield a return equal to the required rate. 2. Internal rate of return (IR). Definition. IR is the discount rate at which the NPV of a project or investment becomes 0. In other words, it's the rate at which the present value of future cash inflows equals the initial investment. Calculation. The IRR is found by solving the NPV equation for the discount rate, right when NPV is set to 0, 0, 0, 0. If the IRR is greater than the required rate of return or cost of capital, the project or investment is considered favorable. If the IRR is less than the required rate of return, the project or investment may not be considered. If the IRR equals the required rate of return, the project or investment breaks even in terms of NPV. NPV against IRR. Focus. While NPV gives a dollar value representing the project's added value, IRR provides a percentage indicating the project's return on investment. Multiple IRRs. For projects with non-conventional cash flow patterns, for example, cash outflows in the middle of a project, the IRR equation can have multiple solutions, causing ambiguity. Reinvestment assumption. IRR assumes that interim cash flows are reinvested at the IRR itself, while NPV assumes they are reinvested at the project's discount rate. This can lead to different rankings for projects when using NPV and IRR. Scale of investment. For projects of different scales, IRR might favor a smaller project with a higher percentage return, while NPV might favor a larger project with a higher dollar return. When evaluating investments or projects, it's often advisable to consider both NPV and IRR in the decision-making process, as each provides a unique perspective. User. What is tailoring for PMP? ChatGPT. Tailoring in the context of the Project Management Professional (PMP) and the Project Management Institute's (PMI), a guide to the project management body of knowledge (PMBOK) guide, refers to the process of adapting the project management processes, practices, and procedures to fit the specific needs, characteristics, and constraints of an individual project. Given that projects vary widely in nature, size, complexity, and context, it is unrealistic and often counterproductive to apply a one-size-fits-all approach to project management. Tailoring ensures that the project management approach is appropriate to the specific project's requirements and its environment. Key points about tailoring include project factors to consider. Various factors influence how you might tailor your project management approach. This includes the project size, complexity, stakeholders, risk profile, lifecycle phase, industry sector, and organizational governance, among others. Organizational factors, the organization's culture, structure, policies, and procedures can heavily influence tailoring decisions. Some organizations might have stringent processes, while others may be more flexible. Knowledge areas and processes. Not every process or knowledge area in the PMBOK guide will be relevant for every project. For instance, smaller projects might not need an in-depth procurement management or stakeholder management process. Maintaining compliance. While tailoring is essential, it's also crucial to ensure compliance with any organizational, regulatory, or industry-specific requirements. Iterative tailoring. As the project progresses, the approach might need to be revisited and adjusted based on new information, changes, or lessons learned. Documentation. Any changes or adjustments made to standard processes should be well documented to ensure clarity, traceability, and proper communication with stakeholders. Balance. It's essential to strike a balance when tailoring. Over-customizing processes can lead to inefficiencies, while under-customizing can render processes ineffective for the project's unique needs. In summary, tailoring in the context of PMP and PMBOK guide is about adapting project management practices to better suit the unique requirements and constraints of individual projects. Proper tailoring ensures that project management is both efficient and effective, maximizing the project's chance of success. User. What is integration in Agile? Cheap. In Agile methodologies, integration often refers to the practice of continuously combining and testing components of a software product to ensure they work together seamlessly. Integration in Agile has several facets. Continuous integration, CIT. Definition. Continuous integration is a software development practice where members of a team integrate their work frequently, typically multiple times per day. Every integration is then automatically verified by an automated build and test process. Benefits: CI detects integration issues early, improves software quality, and ensures that the software remains in a deployable state. Integration testing. Definition. This is the phase in software testing in which individual software modules are combined and tested as a group. It's intended to detect issues where modules or components interact. Agile approach. In traditional development, integration testing often happens after unit testing. In Agile, given the iterative nature and frequent releases, integration testing often occurs alongside or immediately after unit testing. Integrating across teams. Scalable Agile frameworks. As organizations scale their Agile practices, they might have multiple Agile teams working on different parts or features of a larger product. Frameworks like SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework, and less large-scale Scrum have mechanisms to ensure integration across teams, ensuring all teams' outputs align and integrate smoothly. Integration iterations. Some scalable frameworks propose specific iterations or sprints dedicated to integrating features developed by different teams. Integration with non-Agile teams. Hybrid approaches. Not all teams within an organization may adopt Agile. Integration points and synchronization need to be established to ensure smooth collaboration between Agile and non-Agile teams. Tooling. CI servers, tools like Jenkins, Travis CI, Circleci, and others help automate the continuous integration process, automatically compiling and testing code as it's committed. Version control. Platforms like Git, with services like GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket, are essential for managing code, especially in teams. They support branching strategies that facilitate continuous integration. Frequent merging. In Agile practices, especially with the use of version control like Git, teams are encouraged to merge their branches frequently. This reduces integration hell, where large and infrequent merges can result in numerous conflicts and issues. Feature toggles or feature flags. Instead of branching off for new features, which might result in longer integration times, teams might use feature toggles. This approach allows developers to integrate their in-progress features into the main codebase without exposing them to end users until they're ready. Integration in Agile ensures that software is always in a state where it can be released, ensuring rapid delivery of value to users and stakeholders. Proper integration practices reduce the risks associated with release and deployment, leading to more reliable and faster software releases. User. What is the purpose of the business case in one paragraph? ChatGPT. The purpose of the business case is to justify a proposed project or initiative by evaluating its potential benefits, costs, risks, and strategic alignment, providing decision makers with a clear rationale for investment. It serves as a foundational document that informs stakeholders about the project's viability, potential return on investment, and the value it brings to the organization, ensuring that resources are allocated to initiatives that align with organizational goals and offer tangible benefits. User. What is the purpose of the benefits management plan in one paragraph? ChatGPT. The purpose of the benefits management plan is to outline the processes for identifying, realizing, and sustaining the benefits provided by a project or initiative. It defines how and when benefits will be delivered, the metrics used to measure them, and the responsibilities for ensuring those benefits are realized, ensuring alignment between project outputs and the organization's strategic objectives while maximizing value. User. What is the importance of the project charter in one paragraph? ChatGPT. The project charter is a crucial foundational document that formally authorizes the existence of a project, delineating its purpose, objectives, scope, and stakeholders. It provides a clear direction, establishes the authority of the project manager, and serves as a reference for decision-making throughout the project's lifecycle, ensuring alignment with organizational goals and stakeholder expectations while fostering stakeholder buy-in and commitment. User. Describe functional matrix, weak matrix, balanced matrix, strong matrix, project-oriented org described in PMP in one paragraph. ChatGPT. Organizational structures influence how projects are conducted and managed. In a functional organization, departments are grouped by specialty, and projects often occur within these silos with department heads holding authority. A matrix organization blends functional and projectized characteristics with teams pulled from functional departments. The power balance between project managers and functional managers varies. In a weak matrix, the functional manager holds more authority. In a balanced matrix, power is evenly shared. And in a strong matrix, the project manager has more authority. In a project-oriented organization, teams are assembled solely around projects, with project managers holding primary authority and resources dedicated to project outcomes. These structures dictate resource allocation, authority lines, and project communication in the project management professional (PMP) context. User. What is the importance of stakeholder analysis? In one paragraph, ChatGPT. Stakeholder analysis is pivotal in identifying and understanding the interests, influence, and potential impact of individuals or groups connected to a project. By discerning their needs, expectations, and potential influence, project managers can develop strategies to engage stakeholders effectively, ensuring their support and minimizing resistance. This proactive approach fosters positive relationships, facilitates smoother project execution, and enhances the likelihood of achieving project objectives while aligning with stakeholder interests. User. Describe the power influence grid, impact influence grid, salience model, directions of influence, prioritization in one paragraph. ChatGPT. The power influence grid and impact influence grid are visual tools used in stakeholder analysis to categorize stakeholders based on their power and influence, or their impact and influence, respectively, aiding in strategy development for stakeholder engagement. The salience model classifies stakeholders based on 3 criteria: power, legitimacy, and urgency. Directions of influence reflect how stakeholders might influence the project, either inward towards the project, outward from the project to the external environment, or bidirectional. Prioritization helps project managers determine which stakeholders' needs and expectations should be addressed first or given more attention, ensuring efficient allocation of effort and resources in stakeholder management. User. Describe the salience model in PMP. ChatGPT. The salience model is a stakeholder analysis tool used in project management to categorize stakeholders based on 3 primary attributes: power, legitimacy, and urgency. Here's a brief breakdown. Power. The ability of a stakeholder to impose their will, influence decisions, or mobilize resources. Legitimacy. The perceived appropriateness or acceptability of a stakeholder's involvement, often based on their relationship to the project or the organization. Urgency. The degree to which a stakeholder's needs or demands require immediate attention based on time sensitivity. By mapping stakeholders against these 3 attributes, project managers can classify them into 7 categories: dormant, power only; discretionary, legitimacy only; demanding, urgency only; dominant, power and legitimacy; dangerous, power and urgency; dependent, urgency and legitimacy; definitive, power, legitimacy, and urgency. This classification helps in determining which stakeholders may require more attention or specific engagement strategies. Specifically, stakeholders falling into the definitive category with high power, legitimacy, and urgency are typically given the highest priority in stakeholder engagement activities. The salience model assists project managers in balancing and addressing the varying needs and influences of different stakeholders effectively. User. What is the scope management plan? Cheap. The scope management plan is a component of the project or program management plan that describes how the scope will be defined, developed, monitored, controlled, and validated. It's a guiding tool for managing a project scope throughout the project lifecycle. The scope management plan addresses the following key aspects: scope definition. It details how the project scope will be clearly defined, ensuring all stakeholders have a shared understanding of what the project will and will not deliver. Work breakdown structure, a WBS, describes the process for creating and maintaining the WBS, which is a hierarchical decomposition of the total scope of work to be carried out by the project team. Scope verification lays out the procedures to formally accept the completed project deliverables. Scope control details the processes for handling change requests, including how scope changes will be identified, categorized, and either approved or rejected. Scope baseline describes how the scope baseline, a combination of the project scope statement, WBS, and WBS dictionary, will be established and maintained. Roles and responsibilities defines who will be responsible for different aspects of scope management, ensuring clarity and accountability. Scope change procedures establishes the protocols for requesting, assessing, and implementing changes to the project scope. Escalation path provides a mechanism for raising concerns or issues related to scope if they can't be resolved at the project team level. By providing clear guidelines and procedures for managing all changes to the project scope, the scope management plan ensures that the project remains on track and stakeholders are kept informed, thereby contributing to the successful delivery of project objectives. User, what is the requirements management plan? ChatGPT. The requirements management plan is a component of the project or program management plan that outlines how project requirements will be elicited, documented, analyzed, tracked, and managed throughout the project lifecycle. It ensures that requirements are clear, complete, and deliverable, ultimately supporting the creation of products, services, or results that meet stakeholder needs and expectations. Key elements of the requirements management plan include requirements elicitation describes the techniques that will be used to gather requirements from stakeholders, such as interviews, surveys, workshops, and observations. Documentation details the format and structure for how requirements will be documented and organized. This often includes templates or tools that will be used. Traceability describes how requirements will be traced to their source, for example, a stakeholder or regulation, and to the associated deliverables. The creation of a traceability matrix is often employed for this purpose. Prioritization establishes the process for determining the relative importance of competing requirements, which can be critical when dealing with constraints or changes. Change control lays out the procedures for handling changes to requirements, including how changes are requested, evaluated, approved, or rejected. Roles and responsibilities defines who will be responsible for different aspects of requirements management, such as elicitation, documentation, verification, and validation. Configuration management explains how requirements will be maintained over time, especially in environments where frequent changes occur. Requirements verification and validation describes the methods and criteria that will be used to ensure requirements are correctly implemented and meet the intended needs. Communication details how requirements will be communicated to stakeholders, ensuring everyone is informed and aligned. The requirements management plan is pivotal in providing a structured approach to defining what the project will achieve. By effectively managing requirements, project managers can reduce scope creep, prevent rework, and ensure that the project delivers value in line with stakeholder expectations. User, what is the purpose of the project scope statement in one paragraph? ChatGPT. The project scope statement provides a detailed description of the project's deliverables, work required to produce those deliverables, and the project's boundaries. It serves as a reference point and foundation for making project decisions, ensuring that stakeholders have a shared understanding of what the project aims to achieve, what is included, and what is excluded. By clearly defining these parameters, the project scope statement helps prevent scope creep, align stakeholder expectations, and establishes the basis for future project and product scope decisions throughout the project lifecycle. User, what is the project backlog in one paragraph? ChatGPT. The project backlog is a prioritized list of tasks, features, or requirements that the project team needs to complete. Derived from the project scope and stakeholder input, it provides a visual and organized representation of work that's pending. In agile methodologies such as Scrum, the product backlog is dynamic and continuously refined based on feedback and changing priorities, ensuring that the team always works on the most valuable and relevant items. This backlog helps teams stay focused, align stakeholder expectations, and adapt to evolving project needs or market changes. User, what are product constraints and assumptions? Cheap. Product constraints and assumptions are critical elements in project and product planning, offering a framework within which the project or product will be developed. Product constraints. These are restrictions or limitations placed on the product, either by external factors or by design choices. Constraints can pertain to the product's functionalities, design, resources, budget, time, or any other factor that limits options. For example, a product might need to be developed using a specific technology or within a certain budget or time frame. Product assumptions. These are factors or conditions that, for the purpose of planning, are considered to be true, real, or certain without empirical evidence. Assumptions are essentially educated guesses about the unknown. They might relate to future scenarios, user behavior, system interactions, or other factors essential for product development. Assumptions are made to move forward in the face of uncertainty, but they carry inherent risks, as they might turn out to be inaccurate. In essence, constraints delineate the boundaries of product development, while assumptions provide a foundation for decision-making in the face of unknowns. Both need to be regularly reviewed and validated throughout the product lifecycle to ensure alignment with reality and to address potential risks. User, what is a WBS and its components? ChatGPT. A work breakdown structure, a WBS, is a hierarchical decomposition of the total scope of work to be carried out by the project team to accomplish the project objectives and create the required deliverables. It organizes and defines the total scope of the project, breaking it down into manageable components. The primary components of a WBS include WBS elements, or nodes. These are the individual items or tasks in the WBS hierarchy. Each element represents a specific deliverable or group of deliverables. Levels. The WBS is organized in levels, starting with the highest level, which represents the entire project. Subsequent levels represent increasing detailed subdivisions of the project deliverables. For example, level 1, the project itself. Level 2, major deliverable categories or phases. Level 3, individual deliverables or tasks. Level 4, and below, further detailed breakdowns. As needed, WBS dictionary. This is a complementary document to the WBS that provides detailed descriptions of the components in the WBS, including work definitions, deliverables, assumptions, and any associated constraints or responsibilities. It gives additional information about each element, ensuring clarity and shared understanding among stakeholders. WBS code, or identifier. A unique alphanumeric code assigned to each element in the WBS to show its position within the hierarchy. This allows for easy referencing and tracking. Control accounts. These are management control points where scope, budget, and schedule are integrated and compared to the earned value for performance measurement. They are placed at selected management points in the WBS. Work packages. The lowest level of the WBS, where the work is defined in sufficient detail and can be scheduled, budgeted, monitored, and controlled. Work packages are the pieces of work that can be assigned, executed, and completed by a team or team member. Milestones. These are significant points or events in a project. While they do not represent work, they indicate the completion of significant deliverables or phases and are typically of zero duration. The WBS is a fundamental project management tool that serves multiple purposes, including planning, scheduling, budgeting, monitoring, and controlling the project. It ensures that all the work required and only the required work is included in the project. User. What are the components of the scope baseline? ChatGPT. 2. The scope baseline is a component of the project management plan that provides a stable foundation for future project decisions throughout the project's lifecycle. It's used as a reference point to ensure that the project stays on track and delivers what was agreed upon. The scope baseline consists of 3 primary components. Project scope statement. This document describes in detail the project's deliverables and the work required to produce those deliverables. It includes the project's objectives, deliverables, acceptance criteria, constraints, exclusions, assumptions, and sometimes more specific details about the product's features or functions. Work breakdown structure, a WBS. The WBS is a hierarchical decomposition of the total scope of work to be carried out by the project team to accomplish the project objectives and create the required deliverables. It organizes and defines the project scope into smaller manageable components or tasks, ensuring that every piece of work is accounted for. WBS dictionary. Complementary to the WBS. The WBS dictionary provides detailed information about each element in the WBS. For each WBS item, the dictionary can include a brief definition of the scope of work, assigned responsibilities, milestones, associated schedules, cost estimates, and any other relevant information. Together, these components form the foundation of the project scope, against which project performance is compared. Changes to the scope baseline are typically subjected to the formal change control process to ensure that any adjustments are made in a controlled and organized manner. User, what is the purpose of estimate activity resource? ChatGPT. The purpose of the estimate activity resources process is to determine and quantify the resources, including personnel, equipment, materials, and facilities required to perform each activity within a project. This estimation serves several crucial functions. Resource planning. By identifying the specific types and quantities of resources needed for each activity, project managers can ensure that resources are available when required, preventing delays and inefficiencies. Budgeting and cost estimation. Knowing the resources needed can also help in estimating the costs associated with each activity, contributing to the accuracy of the project budget. Schedule development. The availability or constraints related to resources can impact the project schedule. Understanding when specific resources are needed and their availability can influence the sequencing of activities. Risk identification. If certain essential resources are scarce or costly, they can become potential risk areas. Estimating activity resources can highlight these potential bottlenecks or challenges. Procurement decisions. For resources that aren't available internally, the organization might need to procure them externally. The estimation process can inform such decisions. Resource allocation and optimization. By understanding the resource demands of each activity, project managers can make informed decisions about how to allocate and optimize resources, ensuring efficient utilization without over or under allocating. In summary, the estimate activity resources process ensures that the project has adequate resources at the right times to meet its objectives while optimizing resource utilization and managing costs. User. What are the tools and techniques of tools and activity estimating PMP ChatGPT? In the context of the Project Management Institute's PMI Guide to the Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMBOK Guide, when you refer to estimating activities, you're likely discussing two processes: estimate activity durations and estimate activity resources. Both are critical for creating a realistic project schedule and ensuring resource availability. Here are the tools and techniques commonly associated with these processes. Estimate activity durations. Expert judgment. Utilizing individuals or groups with specialized knowledge or experience to estimate the duration of activities. Analogous estimating. Using the durations of similar activities from past projects to estimate the duration of a current activity. Parametric estimating. Using statistical relationships between historical data and other variables like square footage in construction to calculate an estimate for activity durations. 3-point estimating based on the program evaluation and review technique PERT. It involves estimating 3 scenarios, most likely MY, optimistic OA, and pessimistic P. The expected duration is then calculated using the formula. O4 meters keys. Group decision-making techniques. Techniques such as brainstorming, the Delphi technique, or affinity diagrams might be used to arrive at consensus-based estimates. Reserve analysis. Adding buffers or reserves, contingency reserves, to the activity duration estimates to account for uncertainties. Simulation. Using tools like Monte Carlo analysis to simulate the outcome of a project based on input durations and their standard deviations to assess the overall project duration. Estimate activity resources. Expert judgment. Relying on experts to identify the types and quantities of resources required. Analogous estimating. Using resource data from previous similar projects to estimate resources for the current project. Parametric estimating. Estimating resource quantities and durations based on statistical relationships from previous datasets. Bottom-up estimating. Estimating resources for individual activities or work packages, and then rolling up these estimates to create a total project resource estimate. Project management software. Tools like Microsoft Project or Primavera can help in resource estimation and allocation by providing visualization and modeling capabilities. Expert systems. Specialized software that uses the knowledge from various experts to aid in estimating resources. It's essential to note that the best estimation technique often depends on the nature of the project, the availability of historical data, the project phase, and the information available at the time of estimation. User. How do you calculate the critical path ChatGPT? The critical path is the longest path through a project schedule, determining the shortest time in which the project can be completed. Any delay in the activities on the critical path will directly lead to a delay in the project's completion. Here's how you calculate the critical path. List activities and duration. Identify all activities that must be completed, along with their respective durations. Sequence activities. Understand the order of the activities. Some tasks might depend on others to be completed before they can start. Draw a network diagram. Construct a network diagram that represents project activities and their dependencies. Nodes, usually represented as circles, stand for activities, and arrows show dependencies between them. Determine the earliest start ESA and earliest finish EFA for each activity. S, the earliest an activity can start. It's the maximum EF of all its predecessors. If an activity has no predecessors, its ES is 0. The earliest an activity can finish. It's calculated by adding its duration to its ES activity duration. Determine the latest start ULS and latest finish LFV for each activity. LF for tasks without successor activities. LF is the project's end time, or the last EF value. For tasks with successors, LF is the minimum LS of its immediate successors. LS, the latest an activity can start without delaying the project. It's found by subtracting its duration from its LF. LF activity duration. Find the slack float for each activity. Slack or float is the amount of time an activity can be delayed without delaying the project. It's calculated as slack LSS or slack LFEF. Identify the critical path. The critical path consists of activities with 0 slack. In other words, these tasks have no wiggle room, and any delay in their execution will lead to a project delay. Sum the durations on the critical path. The combined duration of the tasks on the critical path will give you the shortest time in which the project can be completed. It's important to note that the critical path can change during the course of a project due to changes in activity durations or relationships, risks emerging, or resources being shifted. Therefore, regularly recalculating the critical path can help keep the project on track. Tools like Microsoft Project or other project management software can automate this calculation. User. What is a critical path task? ChatGPT. A critical path task is an activity or task that lies on the critical path of a project schedule. The critical path is the sequence of activities or tasks that defines the shortest duration in which the project can be completed. Here's what makes a critical path task distinctive. No slack or float. Critical path tasks have 0 slack or float. This means they cannot be delayed without causing a delay in the project's completion date. Slack or float is the amount of time an activity can be postponed without affecting the project's end date. Direct impact on project completion. Since these tasks are on the critical path, any delay, even by a day, will delay the entire project by the same amount of time. Sequencing. The tasks on the critical path are dependent on each other in a sequence. The completion of one task leads directly to the start of the next task in the critical path. Highest priority. Given their impact on the project's timeline, critical path tasks are often prioritized. They receive particular attention concerning resources, monitoring, and tracking to ensure they stay on schedule. In essence, a critical path task is a high priority task that plays a pivotal role in determining the overall project duration. Proper management of these tasks is crucial for the timely and successful completion of the project. User. Describe PERT duration estimates. ChatGPT. PERT program evaluation review technique. Duration estimates are a statistical approach to estimating task durations in project management. PERT recognizes the uncertainty inherent in estimating activity durations by using 3 different time estimates for each activity. Optimistic time OO, the best case scenario, or the minimum time required to complete an activity assuming everything proceeds better than is normally expected. Most likely time MM, the duration that has the highest probability of occurrence, or the time required to complete an activity under normal circumstances. Pessimistic time PE, the worst case scenario, or the maximum time required to complete an activity assuming many problems or challenges arise. Once you have these 3 estimates for an activity, you can calculate the expected duration T and the standard deviation ST for the activity using the following formulas. Expected duration TT 4 6 T 6 6 SD6 PO. The expected duration gives a weighted average, placing more emphasis on the most likely time while still accounting for the optimistic and pessimistic scenarios. The standard deviation provides a measure of the uncertainty or variability in the duration estimate. Using PERT for duration estimates helps in capturing the uncertainty and providing a more realistic view of activity durations, especially for unique or complex projects where precise durations are hard to predict. When combined with Monte Carlo simulations, it can offer probabilistic estimates of project completion times, helping managers to make informed decisions. User. Describe resource leveling and resource smoothing. ChatGPT. Both resource leveling and resource smoothing are techniques used in project management to address potential resource allocation issues. They deal with the distribution of resources over the duration of the project, but serve different purposes and can result in different scheduling outcomes. Resource leveling. Purpose. To balance the demand for resources with the available supply so that overallocation of resources does not occur. It ensures that resources are neither overextended nor remain idle for extended periods. Method. By delaying tasks or splitting tasks in such a way that the resource usage is kept below certain predefined limits or as evenly distributed as possible. Outcome. The project's end date might be extended because tasks are delayed to ensure that resources are not overallocated. It prioritizes resource constraints over the project end date. Usage. Often used when resources are limited or only certain resources can perform specific tasks, and their overallocation would impact the project's success. Resource smoothing. Purpose. To adjust the activities in a project such that the resource usage or demand is kept within certain predefined limits without changing the project end date. Method. By adjusting tasks within their float or slack, meaning tasks are project's end date remains unchanged, but the distribution of resources might be more even across the project. Usage, used when the project's end date is fixed, but there's some flexibility in the scheduling of activities to better utilize resources. In essence, while both techniques aim to optimize resource allocation, resource leveling may extend the project duration to avoid over-allocation, whereas resource smoothing works within the set project timelines to achieve a more even distribution of resources. User, what is the duration compression technique? ChatGPT. Duration compression is a technique used in project management to shorten the project schedule without changing the project scope. This is often necessary when projects are running behind or when there's a need to accelerate delivery. There are two primary methods of duration compression. Crashing. Definition. Crashing involves adding or adjusting resources to activities in the project to compress the schedule. It could mean adding more personnel, working overtime, or bringing in additional equipment to speed up the process. Considerations. While crashing can reduce the project's duration, it often leads to increased costs. It's essential to weigh the benefits of completing the project earlier against these added costs. Also, not all tasks can be effectively crashed. Some activities won't be completed any faster by adding more resources, due to the law of diminishing returns, or because of the nature of the task. Fast tracking. Definition. Fast tracking means doing activities in parallel that were initially planned in sequence. It involves re-examining the project's critical path and looking for activities that can be overlapped or started before their predecessors are fully completed. Considerations. While fast tracking can shorten the project's duration, it often introduces risk because tasks that were initially planned in sequence are now overlapping. This can lead to rework if one task progresses differently than anticipated, affecting the overlapping task. Both of these techniques come with trade-offs. While they can help in reducing the project's duration, they usually introduce additional costs or risks. It's crucial to perform a thorough analysis to ensure the benefits of compressing the duration outweigh the potential downsides. User, what is a critical chain? ChatGPT. The critical chain method is an approach to project management that focuses on the resources required to complete a project's tasks, rather than just the task order and durations. It's a modification of the traditional critical path method, CPM, and was introduced by Dr. Eliyahu M. Goldratt in his 1997 book, Critical Chain. Key aspects of the critical chain method include resource dependencies. In addition to considering task sequence dependencies, as in the traditional CPM, the critical chain method places significant emphasis on resource availability and dependencies, ensuring that critical resources are available when needed. Buffers. Instead of building safety time into each task, which often leads to Parkinson's law, where work expands to fill the time available, the critical chain method aggregates safety time and positions it at strategic points in the schedule. There are typically three types of buffers. Project buffer, added at the end of the critical chain to protect the target finish date from slippage along the chain. Feeding buffers, positioned where non-critical paths feed into the critical chain, protecting the critical chain from delays in these paths. Resource buffers, used to ensure critical resources are available ahead of the tasks where they're needed. Focus on task completion. Tasks are started as early as possible without focusing on early starts and late starts. Once a task begins, the emphasis is on its rapid completion. Behavioral aspects, recognizing that human behavior, like procrastination or student syndrome, waiting until the last minute to start a task, impacts project timelines. By removing individual safety time from tasks and adding buffers, the method aims to change behaviors and promote efficiency. The critical chain method provides a holistic view of a project, accounting for both task and resource dependencies. It's particularly valuable in environments where resources are shared across multiple projects or tasks, and where resource availability is a significant concern. It also offers a more realistic approach to handling uncertainties in project schedules. User, what are the key outputs of the developed schedule process? Cheap. The developed schedule process is one of the core processes in project time management within the PMBOK Guide's project management body of knowledge framework. This process involves analyzing the sequence of activities, their durations, resource requirements, and schedule constraints to create the project schedule. The key outputs of the developed schedule process are project schedule. This is the primary output and represents the planned dates for performing activities and the expected dates for meeting milestones. The project schedule can be presented in various formats such as Gantt charts, milestone charts, project schedule network diagrams, bar charts, schedule baseline. Once the project schedule is finalized and approved, it becomes the schedule baseline against which the project's progress will be measured. It provides a reference point for managing the project schedule and making informed decisions related to schedule changes. Schedule data. This provides a detailed view of the schedule, which may include information on resource histograms, showing resource allocation over time, cash flow projections based on the schedule, order and delivery schedules for products or services, alternative schedules like best case or worst case scenarios, project calendars. These reflect the working and non-working days that determine the dates on which project activities will be carried out. It can be specific to individual resources or the entire project. Change requests. As the schedule is developed and if any potential changes to other parts of the project are identified, like scope, cost, or resources, change requests might be generated. These requests go through the Perform Integrated Change Control process. Project management plan updates. The development of the project schedule might lead to updates in components of the project management plan, especially the schedule management plan itself. Project document updates. Various project documents may be updated based on the outcomes of the developed schedule process. Examples include the risk register, new risks identified due to the schedule, or the stakeholder register, changes in stakeholder engagement due to schedule shifts. The developed schedule process is iterative, and the schedule may undergo multiple refinements as more details about the project become clear or as changes occur. It's crucial to ensure that stakeholders are aligned with the project schedule, and that the necessary resources and arrangements are in place to meet the defined timeline. User, what are the estimating techniques for project? ChatGPT. Estimating techniques in project management are used to predict the quantities, duration, cost, and other variables associated with activities or components of a project. Here are some commonly used estimating techniques. Analogous estimating. Uses historical data from similar projects as a basis for estimation, often used when there's limited detailed information about the project. Less accurate than other methods. Parametric estimating. Uses statistical relationships between historical data and variables, for example, cost per square foot or hours per installation. Requires a reliable database and the ability to scale the variables to the size of the current project. Bottom-up estimating. Begins with estimating smallest components or tasks. Aggregates estimates to arrive at higher level totals. Often more accurate than other methods because it's detailed, but can be time-consuming. 3-point estimating. Based on the program evaluation and review technique PERT, it uses 3 estimates for each activity. Optimistic OO, most likely MEA, and pessimistic key. An expected duration is calculated as 4, 6, T, 6. O for meter speed, expert judgment. Relies on the experience and insights of people who have experience in the specific domain or with similar projects. Can be used in combination with other estimating techniques. Reserve analysis. Adds a buffer or reserve to the estimate to account for uncertainty or risk. This can be contingency reserves for known risks or management reserves for unknown risks. Cost of quality. Used in cost estimating, this considers costs associated with ensuring quality and costs that will arise from not meeting quality objectives, like rework or defects. Vendor bid analysis. If parts of the project will be outsourced, vendors' bids can be used as estimates for those components. Group decision-making techniques. Techniques like brainstorming, Delphi technique, anonymized expert inputs, or affinity diagrams can be used to generate estimates by group consensus. Simulation. Uses tools and software to simulate project variables and their possible outcomes. Monte Carlo analysis is a commonly used simulation technique in project management. Historical information review. Reviewing documents, lessons learned, and other data from previous similar projects to inform current estimates. It's essential to choose an appropriate estimating technique based. User, how do you determine activity duration for an agile project in one paragraph? ChatGPT. In an agile project, activity duration is often determined through team collaboration during iteration planning or sprint planning sessions. The team discusses and estimates the effort required for each user story or task, typically using techniques like planning poker or t-shirt sizing. These effort estimates, combined with the team's historical velocity, the amount of work the team completes in previous iterations or sprints, help forecast how many items the team can commit to in the upcoming iteration or sprint. It's essential to note that Agile emphasizes relative estimation and adaptability over precise upfront duration predictions. User, describe a Kanban board and a Scrum board and the difference between them. Cheap. Kanban board. A Kanban board is a visual tool that displays work items and their progress through different stages of the workflow, typically from to do to in progress to done. The board is divided into columns, each representing a stage in the process. Work items, often represented as cards, move from one column to the next as they progress. The primary purpose of a Kanban board is to optimize the flow of work by limiting the amount of work in progress, and identifying bottlenecks. Scrum board. A Scrum board is also a visual representation of work items, but it's tailored to the Scrum framework's iterative nature. It visualizes tasks and user stories for a specific sprint, typically spanning a 2-4 week period. The board is often divided into columns like to do, in progress, and done, similar to a Kanban board. At the end of each sprint, the Scrum board is reset, with completed items archived and new items added for the next sprint. Differences. Duration. While a Kanban board is continuous and doesn't reset, a Scrum board is tied to sprint durations and resets at the end of each sprint. Purpose. Kanban focuses on optimizing the flow of work and often emphasizes reducing cycle times. Scrum, while also concerned with flow, primarily emphasizes delivering a potentially shippable increment at the end of each sprint. Work in progress, work in progress. Kanban often uses work in progress limits to control flow and identify bottlenecks, while Scrum doesn't explicitly require work in progress limits but controls work through sprint capacity and commitments. Change adaptability. In Kanban, changes can be introduced to the board as soon as capacity is available. In Scrum, once the sprint starts, the goal is to avoid changes to the sprint backlog, and new items typically wait until the next sprint planning. Both boards serve as visual management tools to enhance transparency, collaboration, and efficiency, but cater to different methodologies and purposes. User. Describe the developing of the project budget and engaging stakeholders in one paragraph. ChatGPT. Developing a project budget involves estimating the costs associated with all project activities and resources, aggregating these estimates, and setting aside contingencies for uncertainties. This process ensures that the project has adequate funds allocated for successful completion. Engaging stakeholders during budget development is crucial, as they provide valuable insights, validate assumptions, prioritize resource allocation, and ensure alignment with organizational objectives. Their involvement fosters transparency, builds trust, and increases the likelihood of budget approval and project success. User. What is the purpose of the cost management plan in one paragraph? Cheap. The cost management plan outlines the methodology, processes, and guidelines for estimating, budgeting, monitoring, controlling, and reporting the project's costs. It provides a framework to ensure that the project stays within its approved budget, delineates roles and responsibilities related to cost management, specifies how cost variances will be managed, and establishes the formats and frequency for cost performance reporting. In essence, it acts as a blueprint for managing and controlling project expenditures to achieve the project's financial objectives. User. What's the primary benefit of the estimate cost process in one paragraph? Cheap. The primary benefit of the estimate cost process is to provide a quantitative assessment of the likely costs required to complete project work, enabling informed decision-making, budget allocation, and financial planning. By accurately estimating costs, project managers can set realistic budgets, allocate resources efficiently, and identify potential financial risks early, leading to better financial management and a higher likelihood of delivering the project within its approved budget. User. What are return on investment, discount cash flow, and payback analysis? ChatGPT. Return on investment. Definition. Return on investment is a performance metric used to evaluate the profitability of an investment or compare the profitability of multiple investments. Formula. HHH 100. Return on investment. Cost off the investment. Net profit from the investment. Cost off the investment. 100%. Interpretation. A higher return on investment indicates a more favorable return relative to the investment's cost. Discounted cash flow. DCF fee. Definition. DCF is a valuation method used to estimate the value of an investment based on its expected future cash flows. These cash flows are discounted back to present value using a discount rate, often a company's weighted average cost of capital or an appropriate risk rate. Formula. H1. DCF. Unediscount rate. Number of periods. Future cash flow. Interpretation. DCF gives the present value of future cash flows, allowing decision makers to evaluate the potential for an investment to generate profit over time, adjusted for the time value of money. Payback analysis. Payback period. Definition. The payback period is the amount of time it takes for an investment to generate an amount of money equal to the original investment. Formula. H payback period. Average annual cash flow. Initial investment. Interpretation. A shorter payback period is typically preferable as it means the organization recovers its initial investment sooner. Interpretation. A shorter payback period is typically preferable as it means the organization recovers its initial investment sooner, reducing the risk associated with the investment duration. All three of these metrics are tools that help in making informed decisions about investments, whether those decisions relate to projects, financial investments, or business ventures. However, each has its own focus and considerations, so they are often used in conjunction to get a holistic view of an investment's financial viability. User. What are funding requirements? The previous model used in this conversation is unavailable. We've switched you to the latest default model, ChatGPT. Funding requirements refer to the financial resources needed to support a project, initiative, or business endeavor. These requirements encompass various aspects of financial planning and management, including initial capital, the initial investment required to kickstart a project or venture. It covers expenses like equipment, infrastructure, technology, and initial staffing. Operational costs, the ongoing expenses necessary to sustain daily operations. This includes salaries, utilities, rent, supplies, maintenance, and other recurring costs. Project or capital expenditures, funds allocated for specific project-related activities, such as research and development, marketing campaigns, product development, or infrastructure upgrades. Working capital, the amount of money needed to cover short-term operational needs, like paying suppliers, managing inventory, and meeting short-term debt obligations. Contingency funds, reserves set aside to address unexpected or unforeseen expenses, risks, or changes in project scope. These are crucial for managing project uncertainties. Debt service, payments required to service loans or debt obligations, including principal and interest payments. Capital reserves, funds earmarked for long-term investments, expansion, or future capital expenditures. Emergency funds, funds set aside for emergency situations or unforeseen crises, ensuring financial stability in challenging times. Regulatory and compliance costs, funds allocated for compliance with legal and regulatory requirements, including licenses, permits, and certifications. Revenue generation, projections for income, sales, or revenue streams that will offset expenses and contribute to the financial health of the project or business. Cash flow management, adequate funds to manage cash flow fluctuations, ensuring the ability to cover expenses during lean periods. Funding requirements are a crucial component of financial planning and budgeting. Accurate estimation and management of these requirements are essential to ensure the sustainability and success of a project, business, or initiative. Insufficient funding can lead to financial difficulties, while overfunding may result in inefficient resource allocation. User. What is the purpose of the communications management plan? Cheap. The communications management plan is a critical component of the overall project management plan, and its primary purpose is to define how project communication will be handled throughout the project lifecycle. This plan serves several key purposes. Stakeholder engagement. It identifies and analyzes the project stakeholders and outlines how to effectively engage and communicate with them. This includes defining who needs what information, when they need it, and in what format. Communication objectives. The plan sets clear communication objectives, specifying what messages or information need to be conveyed to stakeholders to ensure their understanding and support of the project. Information flow. It establishes a flow of project-related information, both internal and external, ensuring that the right people receive the right information at the right time. Methods and tools. The plan defines the communication methods, channels, and tools that will be used for various types of communication, such as meetings, reports, email, or project management software. Responsibilities. It assigns responsibilities for communication-related tasks, such as who will be responsible for sending updates, holding meetings, and managing communication tools. Frequency and timing. The plan outlines the frequency and timing of communication activities, including regular status reports, milestone updates, and meetings. Escalation procedures. It specifies how issues or concerns related to communication will be escalated and resolved, ensuring that communication breakdowns are addressed promptly. Feedback mechanisms. The plan includes mechanisms for collecting and acting upon feedback from stakeholders, enabling continuous improvement in communication processes. Documentation and record keeping. It outlines how project communication will be documented, archived, and made accessible for future reference or auditing purposes. Adaptation. The plan is a living document that can be updated as the project progresses or as new stakeholders are identified, ensuring that communication strategies remain effective and aligned with project needs. In summary, the communications management plan is a strategic tool for ensuring that project communication is well organized, timely, relevant, and aligned with project objectives. It enhances stakeholder engagement, reduces miscommunication, and contributes to the overall success of the project. User. Describe the hybrid methodology. Cheap. A hybrid methodology in project management refers to an approach that combines elements and principles from multiple traditional and agile project management methodologies to suit the specific needs and constraints of a project. The goal of a hybrid methodology is to leverage the strengths of different approaches to maximize project success. Here are key characteristics and benefits of hybrid methodologies. Flexibility. Hybrid methodologies allow project teams to adapt to changing circumstances and project requirements. They provide the flexibility to use traditional project management practices when needed for stability and control, and agile practices when adaptability and rapid response are required. Tailored approach. Project managers can tailor the methodology to match the project's unique characteristics. For instance, critical and well-defined project components may follow a traditional waterfall approach, while more uncertain or innovative aspects might use agile practices. Risk management. Hybrid methodologies are particularly effective for managing risk because they can incorporate both predictive risk management, common in traditional methods, and iterative risk management, common in agile methods. Stakeholder engagement. They enable better stakeholder engagement by allowing for more frequent and iterative feedback, which is a hallmark of agile methodologies. This helps ensure that the project meets stakeholder expectations. Resource optimization. Hybrid approaches enable efficient resource utilization. Teams can allocate resources based on the specific needs of each project phase, optimizing time and costs. Phase delivery. Hybrid methodologies can facilitate phase delivery, allowing for the release of project components at different points in the project lifecycle. This can be especially valuable for delivering value to stakeholders early while maintaining control over critical aspects. Documentation. They provide for documentation and control in alignment with traditional practices while avoiding excessive paperwork by adopting agile principles like just enough documentation. Change management. Hybrid methodologies can incorporate structured change management practices from traditional methods and embrace change as an opportunity for improvement, as in agile approaches. Quality assurance. They can integrate quality assurance methods from both traditional and agile worlds, ensuring that quality standards are maintained throughout the project. Continuous improvement. Hybrid methodologies often encourage a culture of continuous improvement by incorporating agile retrospectives or lessons learned sessions. The choice to adopt a hybrid methodology should be based on the specific needs, goals, and constraints of a project, as well as the preferences and expertise of the project team. Hybrid approaches recognize that there is no one-size-fits-all solution in project management and aim to provide the best of both worlds to achieve successful project outcomes. User describes some adaptive methodologies. ChatGPT. Adaptive methodologies, often referred to as agile methodologies, are project management approaches that prioritize flexibility, collaboration, and the ability to respond to change. They are particularly well suited for projects with evolving requirements or high levels of uncertainty. Here are some examples of adaptive methodologies. Scrum. Scrum is one of the most popular agile methodologies. It organizes work into time-boxed iterations called sprints, typically 2 to 4 weeks long. It emphasizes collaboration, adaptability, and the delivery of a potentially shippable product increment at the end of each sprint. Scrum roles include product owner, scrum master, and development team. Kanban. Kanban is a visual framework for managing work as it moves through various stages of a process. It focuses on limiting work in progress, to improve flow and efficiency. Kanban boards display tasks or work items, allowing teams to see their status and prioritize accordingly. Extreme programming, XP. XP is an agile methodology that emphasizes technical excellence and customer collaboration. It includes practices such as pair programming, test-driven development, TDD, continuous integration, and frequent releases to ensure high-quality software. Lean principles, often applied in software development, focus on eliminating waste, maximizing customer value, and continuously improving processes. It involves practices like value stream mapping, reducing cycle times, and improving workflow efficiency. Dynamic Systems Development Method, DSDM. DSDM is an agile framework that places a strong emphasis on the business need, user involvement, and frequent delivery of products. It provides a structured approach for project teams to deliver results while accommodating changing requirements. Feature-driven development, FDD. FDD is an agile methodology that organizes work around individual features or user stories. It involves creating a feature list, developing a model, and iteratively designing and building features. Crystal methods. Crystal is a family of agile methodologies with various versions suited to different project sizes and complexities. It focuses on team collaboration, communication, and continuous reflection and improvement. Adaptive Project Framework, APF. APF is a project management framework designed for projects with high levels of uncertainty. It acknowledges that project requirements may evolve and that adaptive planning and change management are essential for success. Agile Project Management, APM. APM is an approach that combines agile principles with project management practices. It emphasizes iterative development, customer collaboration, and adaptive planning within a structured project management framework. These adaptive methodologies share common principles, such as valuing individuals and interactions, working solutions, customer collaboration, and responding to change. They are particularly beneficial for industries and projects where requirements are subject to change, or where early and frequent delivery of value is essential. Teams often choose the methodology that best fits their project-specific needs and adapt it as necessary to achieve project success. User. What is the purpose of the risk management plan? Cheap. The risk management plan is a crucial component of the overall project management plan, and its primary purpose is to outline how risks will be identified, assessed, managed, and monitored throughout the project's lifecycle. Here are key purposes and objectives of the risk management plan. Risk identification. It provides a structured approach to identifying potential risks that could impact the project's objectives, whether they are threats, negative risks, or opportunities, positive risks. Risk assessment. The plan outlines methods for assessing and analyzing identified risks in terms of their probability, impact, and overall significance to the project. This assessment helps prioritize risks for further attention and action. Risk mitigation and response strategies. It defines strategies for responding to identified risks. This includes both risk mitigation, actions to reduce the likelihood or impact of negative risks, and risk exploitation or enhancement, actions to maximize positive risks or opportunities. Risk ownership and responsibilities. The plan assigns roles and responsibilities for managing risks, ensuring that team members are accountable for specific risk-related tasks and actions. Risk monitoring and reporting. It establishes procedures for ongoing monitoring of risks throughout the project's lifecycle. This includes tracking risk triggers, assessing the effectiveness of risk responses, and updating risk assessments as necessary. The plan also specifies how risk information will be reported to stakeholders. Contingency planning. For significant risks, the plan may include contingency plans that outline what actions will be taken if a particular risk event occurs. Risk communication. The plan defines how risk information will be communicated to project stakeholders, ensuring that all relevant parties are informed about the project's risk profile. Risk budgeting. If required, the plan may allocate financial reserves or budget contingencies to address risk-related expenses. Integration with project management. It ensures that risk management activities are integrated seamlessly with other project management processes, such as scheduling, cost management, and quality management. Risk documentation. The plan provides a central repository for all risk-related documentation, including risk registers, risk assessments, and risk response plans. Continuous improvement. It encourages a culture of continuous improvement by facilitating the learning from past projects and incorporating lessons learned into future risk management practices. In summary, the risk management plan is a proactive tool for identifying, assessing, and managing risks throughout the project's lifecycle. It helps project teams anticipate and address potential issues, thereby increasing the likelihood of project success and minimizing the impact of unexpected events. User. What is the purpose of the identified risk in one paragraph? ChatGPT. The purpose of the identified risks process in project management is to systematically and comprehensively identify potential risks that may impact the project's objectives. This involves recognizing both known risks that could affect the project and those that might emerge in the future. By identifying risks early, project teams can better understand and prepare for potential threats and opportunities, allowing for more effective risk management strategies to be developed and implemented in subsequent project phases. This process is essential for proactively mitigating negative impacts on the project while capitalizing on positive risks, ultimately enhancing the project's chances of success. User. Perform qualitative risk in one paragraph. ChatGPT. Qualitative risk analysis is a process in project management that involves evaluating the significance and characteristics of identified risks. It aims to assess the potential impact and likelihood of each risk event, as well as its overall risk score or priority. During this process, risks are categorized, and their potential consequences are qualitatively described and rated using scales such as high, medium, or low. Qualitative risk analysis provides valuable insights into which risks require further attention and prioritization for more in-depth analysis and risk response planning, ultimately helping project teams focus their efforts on the most critical areas of risk management. User. What is the purpose of the plan risk response process? ChatGPT. The purpose of the plan risk response process in project management is to develop a proactive and structured approach to address and manage the identified risks. This process involves creating strategies and actions to either mitigate the negative impacts of risks, that is, reduce the likelihood or severity of their occurrence, or enhance the positive impacts, that is, increase the likelihood or magnitude of opportunities. The key objectives of this process include risk mitigation, developing and implementing risk mitigation strategies to reduce the likelihood or impact of identified threats to the project's objectives. This might involve preventive actions, risk avoidance, or risk transfer mechanisms, risk exploitation enhancement, identifying and implementing strategies to maximize the benefits of positive risks or opportunities, such as seizing opportunities to achieve project objectives more efficiently. Contingency planning, developing contingency plans for significant risks to outline how the project will respond if these risks materialize, ensuring that the project remains on track even in the face of adverse events. Ownership and accountability, assigning responsibilities and ownership for each risk response action to ensure that team members are clear about their roles in managing risks. budgeting, and reserves, allocating necessary financial resources and reserves to cover the costs associated with implementing risk response actions or managing risk-related issues. Communication, communicating the risk response plans to relevant stakeholders to maintain transparency and ensure that everyone is aware of how risks are being managed. Documentation, documenting the risk response plans, including details of the actions, responsibilities, timelines, and triggers for implementation. Overall, the plan risk response process is essential for proactively managing risks and ensuring that the project is well prepared to address both negative and positive events that may impact its success. It helps enhance the project's chances of achieving its objectives while minimizing the potential adverse effects of risks. User. What is the risk register and primary elements? In one paragraph. ChatGPT. The risk register is a central document in project risk management that serves as a comprehensive repository for all identified project risks. Its primary elements include risk identification, a list of all potential risks that could affect the project, including both threats, negative risks, and opportunities, positive risks. Risk description, a detailed description of each risk, including its nature, source, and potential consequences. Risk assessment, an evaluation of the risk's impact and likelihood, often using qualitative or quantitative scales. Risk priority or score, a calculated risk priority or score based on the assessed impact and likelihood, which helps prioritize risks for further action. Risk owner, the person or team responsible for monitoring and managing the risk. Risk response strategies, the planned actions to address each risk, such as risk mitigation, risk acceptance, risk avoidance, or risk exploitation enhancement. Status and tracking, the current status of each risk, including whether it's open, closed, or in progress, as well as the effectiveness of risk response actions. Triggers, events or conditions that may indicate that a risk event is occurring or becoming more likely, serving as early warning signs for risk response activation. The risk register is a dynamic document that evolves throughout the project's lifecycle as new risks are identified, assessed, and managed. It provides project teams and stakeholders with a structured view of project risks, facilitating proactive risk management and decision-making. User, what are the three elements of uncertainty in PMP ChatGPT? In project management, the three elements of uncertainty, often referred to as the iron triangle or the triple constraint, are scope uncertainty. This element relates to uncertainties and changes in the project scope, including the definition of project deliverables, features, and requirements. Scope uncertainty can arise from evolving stakeholder expectations, unclear project objectives, or changing market conditions. Managing scope effectively is critical to addressing this type of uncertainty. Schedule uncertainty. Schedule uncertainty involves uncertainties regarding project timeline, task durations, dependencies, and sequencing. Factors such as resource availability, unexpected delays, and changes in project priorities can contribute to schedule uncertainty. Project managers use scheduling tools and techniques to manage and mitigate schedule risks. Cost uncertainty. Cost uncertainty pertains to uncertainties associated with the project's budget and financial aspects. It includes factors like unexpected cost overruns, resource cost fluctuations, and unforeseen expenses. Cost estimation, budgeting, and cost control measures are used to address cost uncertainty. Effectively managing these three elements of uncertainty is crucial for project success. Project managers and teams employ various tools, methodologies, and risk management techniques to identify, assess, and mitigate uncertainties throughout the project's lifecycle, ensuring that the project objectives are met within the defined scope, schedule, and budget. User, what are the purpose of frequent reviews in terms of risk and agile ChatGPT? Frequent reviews are essential components of both risk management and agile project management methodologies, each serving specific purposes. Purpose of frequent reviews in risk management. Risk identification. Frequent reviews help in continuously identifying and capturing new risks that may have emerged since the last review. This ensures that the risk register remains up to date with the most current project risks. Risk assessment. Frequent reviews allow for the reevaluation of previously identified risks. As project circumstances change, the impact and likelihood of risks may evolve. Regular assessments ensure that risk priorities are adjusted accordingly. Risk response monitoring. Frequent reviews enable project teams to track the progress of risk response actions. Teams can assess whether the planned risk responses are effective and, if not, make adjustments or implement alternative strategies promptly. Early warning. Regular reviews serve as early warning systems. They provide opportunities to detect warning signs or triggers for potential risks, allowing teams to initiate risk response actions before a risk event occurs. Communication. Frequent reviews facilitate ongoing communication about project risks among team members and stakeholders. Transparency and timely communication are critical for effective risk management. Purpose of frequent reviews in Agile. Iteration progress. In Agile methodologies like Scrum, frequent reviews such as sprint reviews or demo sessions allow the team to showcase the work completed during the iteration. This provides stakeholders with a clear understanding of progress and allows for feedback. Transparency. Agile principles emphasize transparency. And frequent reviews serve as checkpoints where the team and stakeholders can openly discuss the project status, challenges, and opportunities for improvement. Adaptation. Agile practices, including reviews, support the principle of adaptability. Frequent reviews provide opportunities to inspect and adapt project scope, priorities, and requirements based on changing stakeholder needs or evolving market conditions. Quality assurance. Regular reviews help maintain a focus on delivering high-quality increments of work. Teams can identify and address quality issues early in the development process, reducing the risk of defects and rework. Stakeholder engagement. Agile reviews involve stakeholders regularly, ensuring that their input and feedback are incorporated into the project's direction. This engagement enhances collaboration and aligns the project with stakeholder expectations. In both risk management and Agile methodologies, frequent reviews contribute to increased project visibility, improved risk management, better adaptation to change, and enhanced stakeholder engagement. They are instrumental in maintaining project control, transparency, and alignment with project objectives throughout the project's lifecycle. User. What are issues that are overcome with Agile in one paragraph? Cheap. Agile methodologies help overcome various issues commonly encountered in traditional project management approaches. These issues include rigid project plans that struggle to adapt to changing requirements and priorities, lengthy development cycles that delay the delivery of value to stakeholders, a lack of continuous stakeholder engagement resulting in misunderstandings, and a limited ability to respond to emerging risks and opportunities. Agile addresses these challenges by promoting flexibility, iterative development, frequent stakeholder collaboration, and a focus on delivering working solutions early and often, ultimately leading to improved project outcomes, customer satisfaction, and adaptability in a dynamic business environment. User. What are the common issues overcome by Agile in one paragraph? ChatGPT. Agile methodologies address several common issues in traditional project management, such as rigid planning that struggles to adapt to changing requirements, long development cycles that delay value delivery, limited stakeholder involvement leading to misunderstandings, and a lack of responsiveness to emerging risks and opportunities. Agile mitigates these challenges by prioritizing flexibility, iterative development, continuous stakeholder engagement, and delivering functional increments of work quickly and regularly. This approach enhances project adaptability, customer satisfaction, and the ability to thrive in dynamic business environments. User. Describe compliance and why it is important. In PMP in one paragraph. ChatGPT. Compliance in project management, especially within the context of the Project Management Institute, PMI and PMBOK project management body of knowledge, refers to adhering to established project management standards, guidelines, and best practices. It is essential because it ensures that projects are executed consistently and in alignment with recognized methodologies and industry standards. Compliance helps reduce the risk of project failures, enhances project quality, and fosters effective communication among project stakeholders. It also enables organizations to benchmark their project management practices and facilitates the exchange of knowledge and best practices across the project management community. Compliance with recognized standards like PMBOK provides a structured framework for project success, consistency, and continuous improvement. User. Describe the plan procurement process. Cheap. The plan procurement process is one of the fundamental processes in project procurement management, as defined by the Project Management Institute, PMI, in the Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMBOK. This process involves developing a procurement management plan that outlines how procurement activities will be conducted and managed throughout the project. Here's an overview of the plan procurement process. Purpose and objectives. The primary purpose of this process is to establish a clear and comprehensive approach for acquiring goods and services from external suppliers to meet project requirements. The specific objectives include defining procurement needs, methods, and strategies. Key inputs. Project management plan provides an overall framework for procurement activities, including the project scope, schedule, and budget. Project documents. These may include the project scope statement, risk register, stakeholder register, and other relevant documents that inform procurement planning. Enterprise environmental factors. Factors such as market conditions, industry standards, and legal or regulatory requirements that can influence procurement decisions. Organizational process assets. Historical procurement data, templates, and guidelines from previous projects that can inform the procurement plan. Tools and techniques. Make or buy analysis. Evaluating whether project components or deliverables should be produced in-house, make, or acquired externally. Market research. Conducting research to understand the availability of potential suppliers, their capabilities, and market conditions. Expert judgment. Consulting with experts, stakeholders, and procurement specialists to gather insights and advice on procurement strategies. Key outputs. Procurement management plan. The primary output of this process, it defines the overall approach to procurement, including procurement methods, contracting strategies, risk management, and stakeholder responsibilities. Procurement statement of work, or specifications. Clear and detailed descriptions of the goods or services to be procured. Procurement documents, documentation related to the procurement process, such as requests for information, RFIs, requests for proposal, RFPs, or requests for quotation, RFQs, depending on the procurement method chosen. Source selection criteria. Criteria used to evaluate and select potential suppliers based on factors like cost, quality, expertise, and past performance. Make or buy decisions. Decisions regarding whether to produce certain project components internally or procure them externally. The planned procurement process is crucial for ensuring that the project acquires the necessary resources, goods, and services efficiently, cost-effectively, and in alignment with project goals. It lays the foundation for subsequent procurement processes, including supplier selection, contract administration, and procurement performance monitoring. User. The 3 types of fixed price contracts are in one paragraph. ChatGPT. The 3 common types of fixed price contracts in project management are firm fixed price FFP contracts. In FFP contracts, the price is agreed upon and remains fixed throughout the project's duration. This type of contract places the greatest risk on the supplier, as they must deliver the agreed upon goods or services within the specified budget, regardless of any cost overruns or unforeseen challenges. Fixed price with economic price adjustment (FPEPA) contracts. FPEPA contracts are used when there is a likelihood of significant cost fluctuations due to external factors such as inflation or changes in market conditions. These contracts allow for price adjustments based on predetermined indices or economic factors, mitigating the risk associated with cost changes. Fixed price incentive fee (FPF) contracts. FPF contracts provide an incentive for cost savings. They establish a fixed price, but allow for adjustments in the contract price based on cost performance. If the supplier completes the project under budget, they may receive a percentage of the cost savings as an incentive encouraging cost-efficient project execution. Each type of fixed price contract offers a different risk-sharing arrangement between the buyer and the supplier, and the choice depends on the project's complexity, scope, and the level of cost certainty. User. The types of cost reimbursable contracts in one paragraph. ChatGPT. Cost reimbursable contracts, also known as cost-plus contracts, are agreements in which the buyer reimburses the seller for the allowable costs incurred during the project, plus an additional fee. There are 3 primary types of cost reimbursable contracts. Cost plus fixed fee in CPFF. In CPFF contracts, the seller is reimbursed for allowable costs incurred during the project, and they receive a fixed fee as a profit. The fixed fee is predetermined and does not change, regardless of the actual costs incurred. This type of contract provides the seller with a predictable profit, and is often used when the scope of work is uncertain or highly complex. Cost plus incentive fee (CPF). CPF contracts include reimbursement for allowable costs and an additional incentive fee. The incentive fee is variable and depends on the seller's performance in terms of cost control and other predetermined performance criteria. These contracts encourage cost efficiency and are suitable for projects where cost control is critical. Cost plus award fee (CPAF). In CPAF contracts, the seller is reimbursed for allowable costs, and an award fee is provided based on the buyer's subjective assessment of the seller's performance. The award fee is not tied to specific performance metrics, but is determined based on the buyer's judgment of the seller's overall performance, including factors like quality, timeliness, and cooperation. Cost reimbursable contracts offer flexibility but also place some financial risk on the buyer. They are commonly used when the scope of work is uncertain, and the buyer wants the seller to have a vested interest in managing costs effectively while still allowing for adjustments as the project progresses. User. Time and materials contracts are what? ChatGPT. Time and materials (TAM) contracts are a type of procurement contract used in project management and business transactions. These contracts are characterized by the following key features. Payment based on actual time and materials. In a TAM contract, the buyer agrees to pay the seller for the actual hours worked by labor and the actual costs of materials or other resources used in the project. This means that the total cost to the buyer can vary depending on the actual effort and resources expended. Flexibility. TAM contracts offer flexibility to both the buyer and the seller. The buyer can adjust project requirements or scope as needed, and the seller can adapt to changing project conditions without the need for extensive contract amendments. Limited cost control. TAM contracts place a significant portion of the cost risk on the buyer because the final cost can be uncertain until the project is completed. However, they may include cost ceilings or not to exceed limits to provide some cost control. Transparency. TAM contracts require detailed record keeping and reporting by the seller to document the actual hours worked and materials used. This transparency helps ensure that the buyer is billed accurately. Applicability. TAM contracts are often used when project requirements are not well defined or when there is uncertainty about the scope, making it difficult to establish a fixed price. They are commonly used in industries like consulting, software development, and construction. Risk sharing. While TAM contracts place some cost risk on the buyer, they also allow the seller to be compensated for actual effort and costs incurred. This risk-sharing arrangement can be beneficial when project requirements evolve or when the project involves research and development. In summary, time and materials contracts. In summary, time and materials contracts offer flexibility and transparency, but can pose cost uncertainty for the buyer. They are suitable for projects where requirements are subject to change or where the scope is not well defined at the outset, allowing both parties to adapt to evolving project needs. User. What is a gradually rewards contract? ChatGPT. A gradually rewards contract is not a recognized term or standard type of contract in project management or procurement. It may be a phrase or concept specific to a particular organization, industry, or contractual arrangement. It's essential to clarify the specific context or details associated with this term to provide a more accurate explanation, or to determine its meaning in a particular context. If you have additional information or details about the term, please provide them so that I can offer a more precise response. User. User. What are 2 elements of procurement in Agile? GPT. In Agile project management, procurement activities may differ from traditional approaches due to the iterative and adaptive nature of Agile projects. 2 key elements of procurement in Agile are collaborative supplier relationships. Agile encourages close collaboration between the customer or client and the supplier or vendor. Rather than a transactional relationship, Agile fosters a partnership where both parties work together to deliver value. Suppliers are often considered as an extension of the project team, actively participating in Agile ceremonies like sprint planning, reviews, and retrospectives. This collaboration ensures that the project stays aligned with customer needs and can adapt to changes effectively. Incremental deliverables. Agile procurement often involves contracts that focus on delivering incremental value or specific deliverables incrementally over time. Instead of defining the entire scope up front, Agile contracts may specify the high-level objectives or features, allowing for flexibility in the details. Payment milestones are tied to the delivery of working increments, ensuring that the customer receives value early and continuously throughout the project. These elements reflect Agile's emphasis on flexibility, collaboration, and the ability to respond to change while maintaining a focus on delivering value to the customer. Agile procurement practices aim to support Agile project teams in achieving project success and customer satisfaction. User. What is planned resource management? GPT. Planned resource management is a process within project management that involves the systematic planning and allocation of resources to ensure that a project is completed successfully and within the defined constraints, such as time, budget, and scope. This process is part of the Project Resource Management Knowledge Area as defined in the Project Management Institute's PMI Project Management Body of Knowledge, PMBOK. Key components and activities of planned resource management may include resource planning, defining the types and quantities of resources required for the project, including human resources, equipment, materials, and facilities. Resource allocation, assigning specific resources to project tasks and activities based on availability, skills, and project priorities. Resource leveling and smoothing techniques may be applied to optimize resource allocation. Resource estimation, estimating the time and effort required from each resource to complete their assigned tasks, typically based on historical data, expert judgment, or project management software. Resource constraints, identifying any limitations or constraints related to the availability of resources, such as resource shortages or resource conflicts across multiple projects. Resource calendars, creating resource calendars that specify when and for how long each resource will be allocated to the project. This helps in managing resource availability and scheduling. Resource costs, estimating the costs associated with acquiring and utilizing project resources, which is crucial for budget planning and control. Resource management plan, documenting the resource management approach for the project, outlining roles and responsibilities, resource acquisition strategies, and resource release procedures. The planned resource management process ensures that the right resources are available at the right time, enabling the project team to execute the project effectively and efficiently. It also helps in identifying and addressing potential resource-related risks and constraints early in the project lifecycle, contributing to project success. User, describe an Agile team and what would help them with training and support ChatGPT. An Agile team is a group of individuals working collaboratively to deliver value to the customer through an Agile methodology, such as Scrum or Kanban. Agile teams are typically cross-functional, self-organizing, and empowered to make decisions about how they will accomplish their work. Here are some characteristics of an Agile team. Cross-functional. Agile teams include members with diverse skills and expertise necessary to deliver the product or service, such as developers, testers, designers, and business analysts. Self-organizing. Team members have the autonomy to determine how they will achieve their goals and make decisions regarding task assignments, work prioritization, and problem solving. Iterative and incremental. Agile teams work in short iterations or cycles, delivering incremental pieces of value at the end of each iteration. This allows for frequent inspection and adaptation. Customer-centric. Agile teams focus on delivering value to the customer and frequently engage with stakeholders to gather feedback and refine requirements. Continuous improvement. Agile teams have a culture of continuous improvement, where they regularly reflect on their processes and seek ways to enhance their performance. To support and train Agile teams effectively, consider the following. Training and workshops. Provide initial training in Agile principles and practices, such as Scrum, Kanban, or other Agile frameworks. Ongoing workshops and training sessions can help team members deepen their understanding and skills. Coaching and mentoring. Assign experienced Agile coaches or mentors who can work closely with the team to guide them through the Agile adoption process, answer questions, and provide guidance on best practices. Access to resources. Ensure that the team has access to relevant resources, including books, articles, and online courses, to help them stay updated on Agile methodologies and related topics. Feedback loops. Establish feedback mechanisms within the team and with stakeholders to gather insights and make adjustments. Regular retrospectives are a key practice for fostering continuous improvement. Collaborative environment. Create a collaborative workspace that facilitates open communication and interaction among team members. Agile practices often rely on face-to-face or virtual collaboration. Supportive culture. Encourage a culture of trust, transparency, and experimentation. Team members should feel safe to voice their ideas, concerns, and feedback. Tools and software. Provide Agile project management and collaboration tools that help the team manage their work, track progress, and visualize workflow, such as digital Kanban boards or Scrum boards. Community of practice. Encourage team members to participate in Agile communities of practice, both within the organization and externally, to share knowledge and experiences with other Agile practitioners. Regular check-ins. Conduct regular check-in meetings or ceremonies, such as daily stand-ups, sprint reviews, and sprint retrospectives, to monitor progress and address any issues or impediments. Supporting and training Agile teams effectively is crucial for their success in delivering value, fostering adaptability, and continuously improving their processes. It helps them embrace the Agile mindset and achieve their goals in a dynamic and customer-focused manner. User. List key benefits of meeting quality requirements. GPT. Meeting quality requirements in a project offers several significant benefits, including customer satisfaction. Delivering a product or service that meets or exceeds quality expectations leads to satisfied customers, who are more likely to return for future projects and recommend your organization to others. Reduce rework. Meeting quality requirements minimizes the need for rework or corrections, saving time and resources that would otherwise be spent on fixing defects or issues. Cost savings. Higher quality reduces the overall cost of the project by reducing the need for corrections, warranty claims, and customer support related to quality problems. Enhanced reputation. Consistently meeting quality requirements builds a positive reputation for your organization, which can lead to increased business opportunities and a competitive edge in the marketplace. Lower risk. Quality management helps identify and mitigate risks early in the project, reducing the likelihood of costly issues or failures later in the project lifecycle. Improved efficiency. A focus on quality often leads to process improvements and increased operational efficiency, reducing waste and unnecessary activities. Stakeholder confidence. Quality assurance instills confidence in project stakeholders, including customers, investors, and team members, that the project is well managed and reliable. Regulatory compliance. Meeting quality standards and requirements is essential for regulatory compliance in many industries, preventing legal and regulatory issues. Continuous improvement. A commitment to quality encourages a culture of continuous improvement, where lessons learned from one project can be applied to enhance future projects. Long-term success. Meeting quality requirements contributes to the long-term success of the organization by building trust and repeat business opportunities. Better decision-making. Quality data and metrics provide valuable insights that can inform better decision-making, helping teams prioritize improvements and optimize processes. Higher productivity. High-quality work is often associated with increased productivity and effectiveness, as it reduces the time and effort spent on fixing errors. In summary, meeting quality requirements in a project is not only a project management best practice, but also a strategic advantage for organizations. It leads to customer satisfaction, cost savings, risk reduction, and improved overall performance, contributing to the success and reputation of both individual projects and the organization as a whole. User. What is the cost of quality ChatGPT? The cost of quality (COQ) is a concept in project management and quality management that refers to the total costs incurred by an organization to ensure their product or service meets the required quality standards. COQ is typically divided into two categories. Cost of conformance, okay. These are the costs incurred to ensure that products or services conform to quality requirements. COC can be further divided into two subcategories. A. Prevention costs. These are expenses incurred to prevent defects and quality issues from occurring in the first place. Examples include training, process improvement efforts, quality planning, and quality assurance activities. B. Appraisal costs. These are costs related to evaluating and verifying product or service to ensure it meets quality standards. Examples include inspections, testing, audits, and quality control activities. Cost of non-conformance. CONCA. These are the costs incurred when products or services do not meet quality requirements and defects or issues are detected. CON can be further divided into two subcategories. A. Internal failure costs. These are costs associated with defects or quality issues identified within the organization before the product or service reaches the customer. Examples include rework, scrap, and retesting. B. External failure costs. These are costs associated with defects or quality issues identified by customers after the product or service has been delivered. Examples include warranty claims, customer support, recalls, and product returns. The goal of analyzing COQ is to strike a balance between prevention and appraisal costs to minimize the overall cost of quality. By investing in prevention activities and minimizing defects, organizations can reduce internal and external failure costs, resulting in cost savings and improved customer satisfaction. COQ analysis is a valuable tool for making informed decisions about where to allocate resources to optimize quality and reduce overall project or organizational costs. User. Name 4 people associated with COQ. ChatGPT. The concept of the cost of quality COQ is a widely recognized and utilized principle in the field of quality management and project management. While there are not specific individuals associated with COQ, in the same way that there are notable figures associated with certain management methodologies or theories, the concept of COQ has been promoted and applied by various experts, practitioners, and organizations in the quality management field. Some of the influential figures and organizations in the field of quality management and COQ include Philip P. Crosby. Philip Crosby was a prominent quality management expert known for his work on total quality management, PQM. He emphasized the importance of preventing defects and reducing the cost of quality in organizations. W. Edwards Deming. W. Edwards Deming was a renowned statistician and quality management consultant. His teachings on the 14 points for management and the Deming cycle, Plan, Do, Check, Act, have had a significant influence on the field of quality management, including the concept of reducing the cost of quality. Joseph M. Juran. Joseph Juran was another influential quality management expert. He is known for his work on quality improvement and the Juran trilogy, which includes quality planning, quality control, and quality improvement. His teachings have relevance to the cost of quality concept. American Society for Quality (ASQ). The ASQ is a professional organization dedicated to quality improvement and the promotion of quality management principles. It has played a key role in advancing the understanding and application of the cost of quality concept through various publications, conferences, and resources. While these individuals and organizations have contributed significantly to the field of quality management, it's important to note that the concept of COQ is a fundamental principle, is applied by a wide range of professionals and organizations in various industries to improve product and service quality while managing costs effectively. User.